How you doing, guys? Joining us today, Project Cars. We're going to be doing a little bit of strategy, in-game strategy, race strategy, planning what you're going to do during your pit stops, and also something that was inspired from this weekend after a session at Spa. There was a half an hour qualifying or half an hour practice, and then half an hour qualifying, and then there was going to be a 15-lap race. Well, during that 15-lap race, whoever started the lobby got penalties set quite high. So anyone that was picking up a penalty, let's just turn this down a second. Anyone picking up a penalty suffered about 35 seconds with the penalties. Maybe at the first corner, after the usual first corner pile-up, literally every driver had got a penalty of either 10 seconds or 35 seconds. Well, out of 10 people that started the race, that soon went down to 6 once everyone had decided that they weren't going to continue. So 3 laps into the race with myself in the lead, everyone else decided to back out. So at that point you're thinking, well, if I back out now, I'm going to lose license points, or if I continue, I've got another 12 laps without anybody racing me, which was really frustrating. So I'm just going to launch into what we can do about that, because I did finish the race, but I didn't take part in it any further after that. Up until the last lap of the race, I went off and made myself a cup of tea, did a few other bits of jobs that I needed to get done around the house, and then I came back with a few laps to go and just smashed a few laps in. Well, if you click up, if you've got this set, I've got it set to up for my in-car management. And if you see here, you've got race strategy. If you click onto that and you come down to this section here that says swap driver, and you click that to on, and then you decide to go back and request yourself a pit stop. I use my clutch pedal to select a pit stop. So I just bang the clutch pedal and up comes pit stop. Just easy for me because I'm not using my clutch at the minute, and I could cancel it by pressing the clutch pedal again. But as I come into the pit now, I'll do my normal pit stop. So you could select race strategy, select adjust your strategy. At the minute I'm not putting any new tyres on, so let's say for example I select all weather tyres, whatever weather suits the tyre best, so that'll change my tyres to that, and when I come back into the pit it'll also swap the driver for the computer generated driver. Now, albeit I was lapping I think I was lapping about 2 minutes 7 seconds to 8 around Spa. I think that was in the GPDC or something formula. When the computer generated driver takes over, he was lapping at about 3 minutes a lap, so it's well off my pace. I don't know whether he gets better over time the more you use him. I don't know. But that allowed me to just go away and do whatever I wanted, come back, and I just participated in the last 2 laps maybe, and I still came away with that with 10 points on my license, rather than lose points for disconnecting, because you disconnect from a race and you instantly lose points. No matter how much you've completed the race, if you disconnect you lose points. Obviously the more of the race you complete, the less points you lose, but you still lose points disconnecting. Another thing I wanted to quickly look at if we return to the pits is when you're choosing your pit strategy, I mean, this is a 10 lap race, but let's say, for example, we're going to do a 20 lap race. I've got a few random ones here, but generally I use this one. And you'll see the amount of time that it's going to take to do this pit stop is 780 seconds. That's going to take forever. So let's edit the pit stop. But bear in mind, what we're going to do during this pit stop is we're not going to add any fuel, we're not going to change any tyres. So now you're thinking, well, what the hell's he going to do? Well, I've got everything selected as on to repair any damage. But say, for example, there's only 2% damage on my car, maybe 2% on my right rear suspension, and there's no other damage on the car at all. It's not going to take 780 seconds to repair 2% of the damage. You've got to then start looking at what 2% of 780 seconds is. So if for example you're going to say 1%, 1% would be 7.8 seconds. So 2% is going to be what, 15.4, 15.6 seconds. I don't even think it would take that long to repair 2% of the damage. But say for example we didn't have damage on, so damage was off, but we still had tyre damage on. So if we take that all off, and now the pit stop's going to take no seconds at all. You literally go up on the jack, you'll come down again. I think it takes about 5 seconds, even if you're not going to repair anything. You're still going to be into the garage, park, lift up, do whatever the guys do, pretend to change a tyre or something, and then come back down. But if we go to fuel, if we go to change tyres, and we add that, a standard pit stop's going to take 9.3 seconds. Well, let's for example say we wanted to add all this fuel. You might think, oh well, that's not adding any time at all. But if you take off the amount of time it takes to change the tyres, you can then see behind the scenes while the tyres are getting changed, the fuel's also going to be going in. So if you bring that down, you can see how long it actually takes to put fuel in itself. But say for example, obviously you wanted to set the right pressure on your tyres as well for your pit stop, so when you change your tyres, you want them in at exactly the same pressures that you've got. Well, down here you can see that I'm setting 142. If we just come back, let's just save that for argument's sake. We come back into our car setup, we'll see now that our standard tyre cold pressures are 146 and 119, which is now up in this top right corner. So if we come back out of there, back into our pit strategy, come down to the one that we want to adjust and press X, come down to fuel and tyre setup, and we can see here that that's slightly off, 1.42, and we can see the cold pressure up here is 1.46. So in order to just adjust that, we can just change those to these values, and then you're good to go again. Save that to your pit strategy, and you can change tyres. So let's just drive out. Let's say for example you're midway through your race now and tyre wear's starting to not look as bad as you thought. So while you're driving around, and it is quite awkward to do this, you're only going to really want to do this during long straights or between corners, because as soon as you press up and obviously you're trying to take corners and stuff like that, you need to be going through this menu as well while you're taking corners, and you want to be going down to your race strategy and clicking on that, obviously still while you're driving. So it's really good to do this during long straights and stuff. So yeah, you can see how it just goes off there. So let's say for example you don't want to change tyres anymore now during your pit stop because the tyres are looking good, they're going to last the whole race. You might have decided you're going to put fuel in as well, but you've got enough fuel that's going to last you. So you can come to your race strategy, adjust the strategy that you're doing, and you can, while you're driving along the straight, you can choose to not change tyres. So when you come into the pits, it's going to be a much quicker pit stop and you're going to be in and out without having to change your tyres. So we'll come down to this and we'll do a quick lap, and then you'll see what happens when I swap driver. Having done, all we're going to do is change driver. So let's get the engine back up. Take that limiter off. Tyres are still cold here. So you see now I'm banging the pit stop limiter, and then you're up to speed. Not particularly the best entrance to the pits, I will mind you. And we're on, so we're just going to come straight into the pits and we're going to bang the brake pedal on. In fact, I don't even need to touch the brake pedal. So you see they don't really do anything, but it still takes 5 seconds, 5.6 seconds. And as we pull out now, I'm not going to be driving, hopefully, when we get to the end of this pit straight, and the computer generated driver is going to have taken over. I'm not sure this works in practice. Definitely does during the race. So yeah, he's taken over here, look. So obviously this is great if you're in a lobby, you're with a bunch of idiots, and they've all decided that they're not going to do the race because they don't stand a chance of winning. So you thought, well, why should I spend the next half an hour doing a race that no one else is taking part in? I'm definitely going to win this race. So I can just go off now and just go and do something else. I can make myself a cup of tea, play my guitar for 20 minutes, come back to the rest of the race. So what you're going to do now, you come back, you've got another lap to put in or 2 laps to put in, and then you're going to take your points away added to your license. So you're going to bang the clutch pedal, we'll pit in this lap, we'll choose the strategy, swap driver. If you didn't want to swap driver and you just wanted to change his tyres, maybe there was like a Le Mans race or something and you were going to do the full 24-hour Le Mans. I mean, we'll knock him off this lap. Close that. We'll cancel that pit stop and see what sort of lap time he puts in for the next lap. Oh, even though we cancelled that, he still decided to come in, so let's make sure he's going to go back out. So we're not going to change driver. So he should go back out on this next lap. You see 5.6 seconds, see if they do it in exactly the same again, so 5.6 seconds for not doing anything. See, he's not really managing to get the tyre temperatures up at all, really. They've not really changed throughout the whole lap. Staying at a consistent 160. Might even have the pressures here a little bit too high for them to get any higher. I really need to spend a little bit of time during this session to try and work out what happens with these tyre pressures. he's still going to set a relatively good lap here. So he sets a 1:45, that's a pretty good pace really. So he's setting the 9th fastest pace here, it's pretty good that. We'll just see if the tyres start to warm up. We can also see during this section, not very much, which is a bit of a. I think this could have been better. You could have seen the tyre, and you could have been. This could have been really helpful to try and set camber up, but it doesn't give you this information during when you've got the computer driving. You can see a few things working, but you really can't see a lot of the information, which would have been great to learn. And you can see. It's also having no effect on the tyre temperature at all. So I think we're gonna have to come in here, and swap driver. I'll just show you this feature as well. Say you just sat in the pit here, and you looking at going out. Up here you can see, if you monitor the map, you can see I've got a massive gap to come out in. You've got to allow the time for the field to get round this way as to how long it's going to take for you to get out of the pit. So if we try going out now, they're just coming round the last chicane. There's a group of 2 cars. So you've got to imagine the time frame for them probably pulling out onto the pit straight now, and they're hammering it down the pit lane, and there's a gap of about 2 cars. So you see there's 2 cars here. We're hopefully just going to pull in this gap here. Perfect. It's so long to get the tyres warm. It just takes so long between setups to actually get the tyres warm. You might as well do it on the fly, and then you're not waiting to find out what your tyre pressures need to be, or to be able to see what change you've made actually makes a difference. 142.8. So that's what we want to be looking at during that. It just took so long getting there because you're trying to get the tyres warm. So now we know what our tyre pressures and everything should be like, then we can go back into there. Yeah, so if I'm having a little look at, say for example, I'm wanting to run in my career championship, I've got an upcoming race and it's going to be at Bugatti in the Formula C. I'm not gonna waste lap after lap trying to figure out what my tyre pressures are going to be and whether I make a tiny adjustment is going to have any effect, detrimental effect or a good effect. The best place to try out and set your cars up for a race is in time trial because you've got instantly warm tyres, and if you cock up a lap, you're not coming out of the pits again. You can instantly make a change to your tuning setup and you can come straight out and you can see whether it's making a difference. You're only racing against, once you've set a good lap, always try and race against your own ghost, and that way you can determine whether you're actually making any adjustments to your car that are beneficial or detrimental to how your car's set up. Whether it's better in your lap time or you're losing lap time, you'll instantly see whether that adjustment's made any effect. So once you finally get yourself a good lap time, then you can move back to your career and you can start the race in your career mode. So I've just been in and set my fast lap at a 142 during this session, so I'm going to go ahead and cancel my practice session to off. I've had enough practice now, I've set the car up, I'm just going to go in now, try and get 3 or 4 laps to get the tyres nice and warm, and then I'm going to hopefully be able to put a lap in